Hey everybody, believe it or not, this is Matt Goldsman from GamersCast. Everyone who has been following this channel knows that I really don't make videos that often, but every now and then a game comes along and I feel compelled to bring more attention to that game. And one such game, just not so recently came out, and that game is Tunic. It came out a couple of months ago and I really hadn't heard of it or really just forgot about it until it came out. But I'm here to say that it is an absolute joy to play. So without further ado, here's my review of Tunic. Right away you'll notice the game has a gorgeous simplistic art style, but the true beauty of the game comes from the way it conveys information to the player. At the start you're given no context and wake up on a sandy beach. Go forth into the world. It's up to the player to explore and figure out their objectives, the lore of the world, and even how to play the game. This is accomplished through collectible pages of the game's instruction manual that are scattered throughout the world. Nothing is locked behind these pages, so it is possible to figure out most things by toying around with the game, but finding a relevant page at the right time can deliver a satisfying moment of clarity. The game's world also has another layer of obfuscation, being that the local language is completely nondescript, so many of the events in the game are left to context and inference. The gameplay itself takes a lot of inspiration from 80s era action-adventure puzzle games. I've heard a lot of comparisons between Tunic and early Zelda titles, but while that may be a good starting point for comparison, the combat gives the game its own feel. Some enemies attack in patterns, while others telegraph their movements. Depending upon playstyle, you can employ dodge rolls, parries, shields, or whatever other tools you find along your adventure to gain an advantage. The difficulty hits a nice balance, never feeling so difficult that it's unfair, but also challenging enough to always have the player feeling engaged. You do leave a shade behind after death, but the penalty is just losing some gems and having to trek back to your last save point. Save points are also abundant enough that you never feel like you'll lose significant progress after a death. Every time you save, you will replenish all of your HP and mana, but all of the overworld monsters respawn, which will give you some pause to wonder if it's worth the trade-off. My biggest complaint about Tunic is unfortunately also the thing I love so much about it. Having freedom in exploration is great, but at times you can find yourself stuck, and it leaves you wondering if you're supposed to be able to do what you're trying, or if you're missing context in the form of a manual page or an item you haven't found yet. The game also encourages you to go searching for secrets in corners of the map that the camera can't see, but in a couple of instances I found myself able to clip through the walls, and falling through such a boundary is actually how the game presented me with my first death. All in all, Tunic is a gem that managed to sneak under the radar of most people. Exploring and uncovering the secrets of the world is a joy to watch unfold, and it's an absolute delight for those who grew up on 2D Zelda titles. All in all, you could finish the game in a bit over 10 hours, but at a budget price of $30, I'd say it's well worth it. Tunic is available now on Xbox One, Series X, Game Pass, Windows, and Mac.